I think we all know Dance Moms was hell for everyone involved, but there's one person that really stands out who has described exactly how awful the show could get from her own experience as the one who was always at the bottom.
This is gonna cost me a lot of money in therapy.
Kendall Vertes revealed all the dark secrets behind the show, and you'll be shocked to hear exactly how much the show ended up traumatizing her and the rest of the girls. Dance Moms was all based on Abby Lee Miller's dance studio, where the girls who were taught by her would get the chance to be on a reality TV show. But it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows, since the girls have come out to say how hard it actually was to be a part of the cast. Kendall Vertes is one of the girls who decided to share their experience on the show, and it is not pretty. She was on the show from season 2 until season 7, and calling it an emotional roller coaster would be an understatement. She and her mom Jill weren't part of the OG cast, but they very quickly became important staples because of their drama. And the two actually had a pretty unique reason for being on the show. Kendall used to dance for another studio about an hour away from Abby's originally, but because the producers liked what they saw, they ended up asking her to join the show permanently. But that's not what the viewers saw, and Kendall revealed that they had to set up an entire fake audition so that they could get Kendall on the show.
I'm Kendall, I'm 8 years old, and I just really believe in myself that I can show Abby what I can do. I think I'm worthy to be a part of the Abby Lee Dance Company.
They obviously went through the whole thing, but Kendall confessed that she always knew she'd get chosen. Kendall then revealed that they had to sign a 7-year contract in which they literally could not break or they would get sued. And it did really get hard, especially since the filming hours immediately started to be very stressful. At first, Kendall revealed that she did go to school every day until about 11:30, and then would get pulled out of school by her mom so she could start practicing and filming for Dance Moms. Her social life was practically non-existent, and it got so hard for her that she had to give up school.
And so my mom was like, I hate to do this to you, but you have to be homeschooled. It's the easiest option we have.
Yeah.
And so I was homeschooled from 4th grade up until my freshman year of high school.
And guys, for the first 2 seasons Kendall was on, she was doing all of this for only about $1,000 a week, which Kendall and her mom split between them. She also revealed that the filming hours could reach 60 hours a week for only a 45-minute episode, and that's excluding all the training and preparation they had to do to even start filming. Kendall herself said that it was absolutely not worth it, but it took a bit for the moms to finally speak up and demand actual working conditions. Keep in mind that these girls were only about 8 or 9 years old. Kendall was also asked what exactly the moms' roles were on the show, since it isn't typically dance studio etiquette to have the moms hanging around all day. And she ended up revealing that the show's original plan was to show way more of the moms and have the drama turned to 100 between them. But the plan changed a bit when the viewers got interested in what the girls had going on as well.
But originally they wanted the show to be like 80% moms and 20% dancing because the moms were so interesting. And then once the dancing obviously was being shown, the viewers were like, we want to see more dancing. So they kind of split it 50-50.
Honestly, it's hard to imagine how different the show would have been if everything was only focused on the moms. However, Kendall made it very clear that no matter how much drama was on screen, none of it was ever scripted. But that doesn't mean that the producers didn't have a heavy hand into what was happening. Like guys, Kendall actually exposed the show for stirring up drama on purpose just so the producers could get some juicy shots. And if anyone refused to do what they were told or refused to engage in the fighting, they actually risked not getting a paycheck.
We're gonna manipulate this situation to where Abby starts yelling at you and then you have to react or you're not gonna get paid. They basically like hang a paycheck in our faces and be like, you're not gonna get paid if you don't do this.
Oh, okay.
And to no one's surprise, these kind of arguments would also often affect their lives off camera. And Kendall even revealed that to this day, there is still a lot of tension between some of the cast members because of how badly they left things on the show or because of the hard situations the producers put them through. But at the same time, Kendall actually felt like all of the struggling brought the girls closer together because they had to go through so much of the same problems and they only really had had each other. It wasn't an easy time to basically clock into work and immediately deal with the attacks and drama and arguments every single day. But for a lot of them, the money counted a lot, so they had to put up with it and the trauma that followed. According to Kendall, even if it wasn't scripted, the cast always knew what was expected of them in order to please the producers. Guests especially knew how things worked on the show and were well aware of the fact that if they didn't start some huge drama with the moms, they wouldn't get any screen time and they wouldn't be paid.
People would come onto the show knowing that if they were to fight with a certain mom, they would get airtime.
Okay.
So like when guests would come on and compete against us, like they would be ruthless and say whatever they wanted to say because they knew that Lifetime TV would eat it up.
The on-camera drama always played up by the moms, but what wasn't played up was how harsh Abby actually was. As it turns out, Abby was much worse off camera than she was on camera. So much worse that they actually had to tone it down for the show to be airable. A very clear example was when Abby made fun of one of the girls' medical conditions that affected her eye, which had to be edited for the show so that it wouldn't sound as harsh.
Molly, it's finished! Your kid's washed up!
How dare you! Do you know anything about that kid? No!
Kendall also said that while she has huge respect for Abby for getting her to where she is today, she is well aware of the fact that the way that she treated her and the rest of the girls was not appropriate for a teacher, especially because most of the time her insults would be so bad that the girls barely comprehended anything but the fact that they were getting yelled at.
We were 8, 9 years old and she would tell us we were fat, washed up, ugly, shouldn't be here, we're too privileged, we're not swift. Like she would just say things that little kids didn't even know how to comprehend.
Oh, that's
But
crazy.
knew it was bad.
Yeah.
And like that just does so much to your mental health as a dancer.
A big part of the show when it came to who was getting praise or not was the pyramid ranking at the start of each episode, which Kendall revealed was only made for the show since it absolutely isn't a thing in real life. And if you've watched the show, then you know Kendall was basically always at the bottom for drama, of course, since she always was getting in trouble or her mom would cause trouble for her.
Type
So
shit.
I was on the bottom of the pyramid mostly every single time.
Wait, why?
Because my mom would always start drama.
Yeah.
Dance Mom Joe. Love her. She was getting that paycheck.
But at the same time, it was also because Maddie was always Abby's favorite, and she didn't hesitate to express it by always putting her on the top and always praising her. It was something that all of the girls were made very aware of, and there was nothing they could do to stop it.
Maddie was the favorite. Do you know Maddie?
Yeah.
Maddie and Mackenzie, they were Abby's little angel children. And we were just kind of the background dancers.
Now, Kendall did realize that the pyramid was only for the show and it didn't actually mean anything since it wasn't a real thing in the dancing world. But it was still super hard to hear that you were doing badly every single day. And while Kendall felt like she could still look past it, it's hard to say if the other girls felt the same way. The whole thing obviously affected them, and it wasn't rare for the girls to start crying. Kendall actually self-proclaimed herself as the crybaby of the show since she would practically be crying every single episode. She revealed that all the ups and downs that were happening on the show were incredibly hard for her to deal with, and it was basically an emotional roller coaster because of how they went from getting praised to getting screamed at several times an episode. According to Kendall, the girls did have a team psychiatrist just in case they wanted to talk about anything hard that had gone down during the filming. Apparently, the girls would find a lot more comfort in each other, and they even had sleepovers like every night where they could talk about anything that bothered them, which according to Kendall is basically the main reason they haven't all gone crazy today. Things could get seriously messed up on the show sometimes, and Kendall revealed that the producers could even go as far as locking the girls up so that the moms could fight it out without getting interrupted just so they could get more drama for the show.
The people who were behind the cameras, they were all like grown men telling little girls like, okay, go sit in the bathroom. We're gonna lock you in there while your parents are fighting. To keep us away from the drama so we wouldn't interfere.
Kendall's life after everything with Dance Moms was definitely much different, especially because she had to go live a normal life after all the reality TV work. For her and the other girls, being on the show was practically the same thing as living in a whole other reality, since none of them were really able to keep in contact with anyone back home, especially after the show was moved from its original location in Pittsburgh to Los Angeles when Abby decided to extend the studio. But thankfully, when Kendall did return to high school, it was a breath of fresh air since she could finally do all the normal teenage things and just relax without being shouted at every day.
Because I feel like that shaped me into the person I am today, being around like normal high schoolers.
Yeah.
Something that I needed for my social self.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, things got way more difficult for her when she started college and was exposed to many people that only knew her from Dance Moms. Kendall was very set on making it all work and getting through college since she saw it as a privilege.
A few girls went to college after Dance Moms, and I'm proud that I am here getting a college education because I can, and I'm lucky enough to.
Kendall also revealed that she did end up joining her college's dance team, but a lot of the other girls that ended up going to college chose to stay away from the sport because of what had happened on Dance Moms.
But none of them did dance there,
Surprised
which
they
is
did.
crazy too because like we've been dancing our whole lives, but I think Dance Moms
We're on different.
kind of ruined
They had enough
the
dancing.
sport for us.
Honestly, it's perfectly understandable that a lot of these girls chose to stay away from dance after everything they went through. Anyways, loves, how do you guys feel about what Kendall went through on the show? Let me know down below, and don't forget to check out this other video for more drama.